Shake here with another third mark tank review. This time, as you can see, featuring the Sturer Emil, the Tier 7 German tank destroyer with one of the largest guns of the tier next to the SU-152. It carries, of course, the German 12.8 centimeter or 128 millimeter weapon, which you can find variations of this ranging from here at Tier 7 only on the Sturer Emil all the way up to Tier 10 on things such as the mouse. The weapon, of course, is extremely effective for the tier, having an average damage of 490 and having almost 250 millimeters of pen with its AP shell. As you can see, there is no premium. So what you can do with that AP shell, and I do carry a couple of HE just for times when it's the better choice, but what you can do with regular ammo is all you're going to do. Now, it does have extremely limited ammo capacity. And on the way to third marking this, I did find myself running out of ammunition more than once. And that is something you're going to have to deal with in extended games or games where the gun just doesn't cooperate. And unlike some other German vehicles, this gun sometimes just has games where it doesn't live up to its accuracy statistic. On paper, it's a pretty accurate gun. And when fully aimed, it normally does fire straight and true. But you are going to have those games where no matter what, you're stationary, your target stationary, you're fully aimed. And I even run the improved aiming piece of equipment on this because with it being open-topped, I can't run vents. You must run a gun rammer in this. And as you can see, I carry binoculars because this is a long-range vehicle that must play at that nice little medium distance in between where you can be spotted, but where you can also spot if needed. Now, of course, that's between the white and the green, if you have your circles enabled on your minimap. Now, here in Berlin, and some maps are going to be like this. I am top tier. It's a split battle. Now I have the highest alpha damage in the game. Now I can't really snipe too well because the way they've changed the map, it limits it. And you just have to basically be consigned to that. Some games you're not going to get to play that sniping role. And this is an ace game in which I do carry the team to the win. And it's in an unconventional way, and I'm wanting to showcase this as the background for my third mark tank review, because this is sometimes how you have to play the Sturer Emil, leveraging your high damage instead of just being your typical sit at the back and snipe kind of vehicle. I mean, this is more than capable of doing that, but every tank destroyer can sit at the back and snipe. Some are better than others. The Steyr at Tier 7 is the better long-range sniper than the Sturer Emil. The Sturer Emil is more of landing a huge roundhouse punch to somebody instead of the Steyr consistent jabs. And unfortunately, yes, teammates will sometimes cost you a huge amount of damage. That would have been a very nice sure hit on the Type 64, but such is life in World of Tanks. But back onto the Sturer Emil. Right here, I'm willing to sit and take the hit from the E25. Because as you've seen, I took 121 damage in exchange for 508. Yes, the Sturer Emil can snipe all day long. It's also, at its own tier, the master of trades. And sometimes you just have to play that way. Again, one hit for 117, and yes, you've seen a very large high roll. So now I've just dealt over 1,000 damage in 2 hits, while only taking 200 and some. So my trading ratio is 4 times. I'm trading 4 times the damage I take for the damage I'm dealing. And that's actually, that's a winning strategy. Right now we're losing, but it's not necessarily about this specific game. It's about the tactics that you can employ with the vehicle in the way to make it effective. Now, no matter what, I'm not going to try to pass off the Sturer Emil as this game-carrying vehicle. It's not. This is actually one of the most limited vehicles that I've third marked, period. And I'm actually closing in on 50 tanks 3 marked. And out of all of them, this is the most limited in what it does well. It does 2 things well: sniping and damage trading. And it's not the best sniper, as I say, is hitting a long range shot, but there's what it has to have. As sniping, it's not the best because it needs a stationary target. And if you watched my third mark battle, I commented on it. This thing is absolutely horrendous at hitting a moving target that's traveling side to side. If it's going side to side and the Sturer Emil's having to traverse, it struggles mightily. It needs it to be stationary, and it needs its target to be stationary. If those 2 conditions are met, it does a pretty good job. And then the other thing it does well, of course, I've already showcased, is trading alpha. Now, you would think you shouldn't be doing that in a low armor tank destroyer that's slow and open topped. But sometimes that's the winning recipe. Now, Sturer Emil, I'm not going to say it's a winning vehicle. It's not. It has one of the lowest win rates on the server, the NA server. And there's a reason for that. It's a very niche vehicle. And its niche is limited basically to sniping from concealment or sniping from cover. And those are 2 different things. Concealment is what I did there. Firing from solid cover. When I back up, nobody's going to spot me because the bushes turn solid. Here I can see he's too far back, and that's a heavy, so he's most likely not running any optics. A lot of heavy players don't run optics. So it's pretty safe to shoot at them, especially at the maximum range there. The white circle is your detection range, what you're going to get spotted if you fire at. He was at the very, very edge of it, so I was at very low risk of being spotted. My crew has camouflage. I'm in the bushes. If you can see through them when you fire, you reduce the concealment of the bushes, but again, it's a give and take situation. He was very unlikely to spot me, just as this FB304, which is basically blind. It gives me time to aim in and hit him. That's firing from concealment. Earlier, I was trading from cover. Cover is from hard cover. And the Sturer Emil does that very, very well. It has, not counting a howitzer, it has the highest damaging gun of the tier at almost 500 average damage. That's immense. Like a E25, it's dealing 130 average damage. This is dealing 490. So the trade's always going to work in your favor. And the Sturer Emil's very good at that. However, it's slow, low armored, and low ammo capacity, very restricted gun traverse, large bloom under hull traverse. There's a lot of things going against it. So it is definitely not a tank for everyone, and it's not a tank you're going to win a lot of games with. Just sometimes things work well, like that shot. But the Sturer Emil has the ability, given the right situation, it has the ability to deal lots of damage, get lots of kills, and even when needed, pull some of the hits from the enemies right up front, like I did earlier, and like I'm going to do here again. But is it a good vehicle? This is a tank review. After making it to 3 marks, no, it's not a good vehicle. And that's coming from somebody who is known for loving German vehicles. Now, I do love the fact this thing was real. It was actually built. It actually served in combat. It was designed for, long-range target destruction. We don't get the true range that this thing was capable of in real life. 2.5 kilometer ranges were pretty typical for things like the National and the Dickermax, and I'm sure this was employed in the same way. But here in World of Tanks, we're brawling on maps that are under 1 kilometer. Not the ideal for this. But as I finish up the game here with what's going to be the final killing blow on an E25 who raged at me after the game endlessly. But he spotted and sitting in front of a Sturer Emil. There's not much that's going to happen other than the destruction of that thing. Because that's exactly what you don't want to do. But it was an ace and a top gun, and this was a few battles ahead of the game that I featured where I got my third mark. So I'll leave you with the results, and this was one of the ones that helped boost up my mark to where I could finish it off. But Sturer Emil, limited, but can be effective in those limited situations. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.